Back on the truck for a bit today. I'll show you what I got going on here. I have no working washer fluid pump, windshield washer fluid. The wipers work, right? But the fluid, where's the button? No washy. So we'll do some troubleshooting, show you how I do that, and we'll see if we can diagnose the problem and get it fixed. The washer fluid reservoir is right down here inside the driver's side fender, and the pump is way down here. It's about that far in, and it's pretty difficult to get to. You have to get it from underneath in the wheel well. So before I do that though, that's a lot of work, right? Before I start tearing stuff apart here, there's some troubleshooting I want to do before that. In particular, when you have a piece of equipment that isn't working, the most common problem is a blown fuse. And I've already had a couple blown fuses in this truck, so part of me thinks that might be it. So I'm gonna go to the fuse box over here and we'll do some testing on the fuses and see. On this truck, the fuses are over here on the passenger side, right by the battery. There's just a couple push clips to pull that off. And inside, whenever you want to check a fuse, inside is usually a map of your fuses. One thing that's often weird, like this sits like this, so you take this off and you look, it's all upside down. So you gotta turn it this way. When you turn it this way, the lid is backwards now, but actually is correct on the mapping. So sometimes you'll have to do some like mapping of the larger blocks, like the relays and stuff, and go, okay, that's this and that's this. Okay, this is the orientation. So in this one, the washer fluid is, I believe it's this one right here, number 13. 13 is washer fluid front, and 14 is washer fluid rear. Let's see if I can show you that. It's right here. Washer fluid front, washer fluid rear. Now this doesn't have rear washers. It's the same setup for like the Tahoe, Yukon, so they obviously have rear window washers. So I don't have a fuse here for 14, just for 13. So there's a few different ways you can test these fuses. You can get an actual fuse tester, like if you buy a package of fuses, there'll be a fuse tester in there. So you can just do a visual inspection. Let's get a pair of pliers here, pop the fuse out, and look at it. And inside, there's this little kind of a wire, like a coil that connects the two pins here. And if it's blown, that'll be broken, or it'll just be so blacked out or cloudy that you can't see it. In this case, I can see it and it is intact. But for testing purposes, let's test it. Where's my meter at? Seriously, where's my meter at? There you are. You're just out here. The easiest way to test these is just to do a continuity test. So you get a cheap meter. This is, you don't have to get anything fancy. Just when you touch the contacts together, you have continuity. So if I touch this one and this one, I have continuity. Now you can do this test right here in the fuse panel too, because there's contacts up on the top, little metal posts. So just kind of get your thing on one and on another. Okay, so we know the fuse is good. So we know we've got a good fuse. So then the problem is either in the wiring to the pump or the pump itself. Because I can definitely hear with this hood open and standing over it, hit the button, the washer pump itself is not kicking on. So like I said, it's either the wiring connection through the system to the pump or the pump itself. In this case, the pump is not terribly difficult to get out of there. I'll show you that here in a minute. But that isn't true for necessarily every piece of equipment, like like a window motor or a trunk latch or something like that, like where it's going to be buried inside the body. You're going to have to do a lot of disassembly to get to it. So testing the actual piece of equipment itself is difficult. So you can test though all the way up to it. So I've got my meter set up. There's a bunch of tools. I've done this with that VDiag automotive diagnostic tool, the wiring diagnostic tool. That would help here. There's a bunch of tools you can use, but honestly, you can do this with just relatively inexpensive meter. The cheap Harbor Freight one is $5-6, and some test leads. So I've got this this is the connector for the pump removed, and it's got this little needle lead stuck in the positive side, which is the, I believe, how do I have it set up? Was it the white? And you can just use another one on the ground, but I don't want to touch them together. So, and then I've got the negative, the black wire from my, connected to from my meter to a test lead to a ground post, a body ground, just so I don't touch them together when I energize the circuit with the washer button. Just a little safer. But you can, if you've got another lead, stick it in there and maybe put a piece of tape or something around them so they don't touch. Okay, meter's on. We should see on this meter 12 volts when I hit the button. If we don't, then I think that maybe means there's something in the circuit. If we do, then it should be the pump. Now we should get, I hit the button here for the washers, we should see 12 volts. I did have to move the ground. That ground connection is not very good. So I'm up here on this coolant reservoir. There's a little bolt that bolts to. So just got to find yourself a good body ground. That little aluminum bolt is not good enough. So, all right. No, we're not on. Let's turn the car on. There we go. 12 volts. Okay. So we're good here. Easy wipers. Okay. So we're good here. Means at this point, we've tested voltage all the way here. We've got good voltage at the connector for the pump, so it's got to be the pump. So we'll get that pump out, and I'll show you. I'll take it out. We'll test the pump anyway, just in case, but I'm pretty sure it's bad. All right, I'm gonna get this wheel well out because it's right here. I want to get to. So these aren't that hard to get out. It was dirty. Needs a bath. Especially these newer trucks. I hate these fabric wheel well liners they have now, but they're not terribly hard to take out. So there's a 7mm screw up there. There's no clips on this one down here. A lot of these plastic ones have clips all over the place. There's one up there. There's a bunch of little Torx. Looks like a T10 or T15 Torx all the way around. Ooh, that's hot. We're out and about. The brakes are a little toasty. Another 7mm screw over on the left. Oh, there's another hex head up here. And then our washer fluid is right there. So our pump is right here. And this is our reservoir. So we need to drain the reservoir. So I'm going to pull that hose off and drain it into a bucket. And then we'll get that pump off and we'll test it. Well, I think it's not going to work. So that's going to take like a million years to drain. So I don't know. We'll just let that go, and we'll come back later when it's done. Okay, I got impatient, as I often do, and I just popped it out and let it drain out the hole this plugs into. So the way this works, this goes down into a grommet in that plastic tub. It sits like this, so with this tube facing left, goes down the grommet, and then it just pushes into it clicks into a cavity there, and it holds just friction fit. So this has a hole in the top, and my suspicion says it's not supposed to, which means some got down in it and, oh hey, it stopped, and shorted it. All right, so there's all kinds of fancy tools, and I even have some that you can use to test electronics. Some stuff is helpful to have. I'm not saying it's not helpful, but for this case, I just want to test. I'm gonna give this thing 12 volts and see if it works. So that's relatively easy to do. Just take a power tool battery, put some terminals in it, and some test leads. So I got these hooked up. I'm getting 12.2 volts. So now I'm going to disconnect one of these because I don't want to accidentally touch them together and send a shower of sparks. So I'll connect one in here and the other one on the other side. These have little rubber boots on them so that you don't accidentally touch them together, because they want to touch together. Make sure that they're not. Okay, we got nothing. No juice. Juice. So, that no work, that work. Good enough for me. Let's go put this one in. Got our Rhyno harness here. Hook that up. There. Push that clip down. And then this will go in. There's a grommet. This goes inside this grommet right up here. And then it'll push back into a little groove. And then connect the hose. All right, let's see if she works. I lose these keys in the toolbox all the time. No joke. I drove home with the key in the toolbox. All right, get some juice. Hey, that worked pretty good. Worked pretty good. Sprayed myself with it. All right, success. Easy peasy. Like in my car, the washer fluid was in the front, and be to get it from like the bumper side. So they're kind of all in different places. So this is specific to, I think, would be the 19 to 24, 25 model year GM trucks. And they also kind of go through how I troubleshoot these different components. So when something's not working, it isn't just assumed that the thing itself is bad. In this case, it turned out to be the case, but it could have been a bad fuse, could have been a bad circuit, could have been a bad switch. More often than not, it's the fuse. So that's why that's always the first thing I check. But once I knew the fuse was good, then it kind of was likely to be this pump. But you can take the pump out, put those leads on it, and test it. If it doesn't work, well, now you know. But you know, as easy as it was to take out, that's not always true. Like, think about something like a window motor. It's a lot of work to take it out, so you can test it on this like wiring harness. I gotta put the wheel well back in, put the wheel back on, and we're good to go. But you guys have seen that a million times. You need to watch that. Thanks for watching this one, though. Hope that helped you. And we'll see you soon, I hope.